If relationships are the real currency in life, if referrals are the lifeblood of business, how do we, the entrepreneurs, the small business owners, compete in this ever-changing, fast-paced world? How do we become more so we can attract more? My name is Curtis Lewsey, and I'm your host. Those are the questions, and in this podcast, we will reveal the secrets. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Referral Secrets. We have a good friend of mine, Mr. Tariq Johnson, on the podcast, and I've known him for now almost 15 years. I met him at a T. Harv Eker Secrets of the Millionaire Mind intensive free weekend, and he sat right in front of me, crazy high energy, and then I just knew there was big things and I wanted to stay in touch with this guy, and I just knew that he was on a path that most people don't see ever in their lifetime. And I just loved his energy and loved his passion. I want him to share his story of where he's been over the last 15 years. And most importantly, where he's now and why he's excited about his future. So Tark, take it away, please. Please share your story.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, Curtis. Well, thanks for having me on. And it's great to be here. And yeah, it's crazy that we've known each other now almost 15 years, which is really wild to think about. And I remember the moment that we met and we connected, which was when they were talking about Kenai, which is a constant and never-ending improvement. And I was like making some comments on it when they were on stage. And I think you were sitting next to me or 2 seats away from me. And then we started talking and you were like, oh, you like Tony Robbins? And we wind up connecting in regards to that. And I'll talk about my journey actually, which was my 1 year that I was a speaker for Tony Robbins and travel the country delivering presentations, but it wind up being because of you. Because of that moment that we met, you connected me to Mina Shah. Mm-hmm. And then I went to buy a ticket to go to the seminar. She told me about what she did for the company and the role she was leaving. And I was like, I have to do that. At that time, I was, I think, 21, 22 years old. I was making about $10,000 to $15,000 a month as a financial advisor, just started making good money. I had just bought a house. And again, I had decided to leave that role as a financial advisor, covering 5 different banks that I covered to pursue that dream and that passion. And so really my story is one about someone who always wanted to be an entrepreneur and always wanted to follow my dream and my passion. And I've made diversions along the road. When you and I met, I think I just got my investment licenses. I got my investment licenses when I was 19 years old and basically worked in banking, investments, financial advising, took that 1 year stint off to do for Tony Robbins, and then went back to financial advising, wind up having more success in that career. But knowing that eventually I wanted to become an entrepreneur and had to plan for that. And I started to make really, really good money as a financial advisor. And it was bittersweet. It started to scare me. The reason why it started to scare me is because I felt like I was getting more and more handcuffed to my job. And I know that you have a lot of entrepreneurs and people that watch your podcast and follow you. And it's interesting how we can become handcuffed to something, even in our business, where we want to innovate, we want to take a risk, we want to reinvent our business or shift to a referral only type of model. We're really relying on our customers, but we're scared to do so. And that's kind of really my journey. And recently I decided to make the shift again after launching my YouTube channel. I've owned multiple franchises, built a multi-million-dollar franchise business. And now my story is really about going from employee to entrepreneur.
That is amazing. We have so much in common. I own the domain name Rags to Residuals. And because I used to sell rags for Cintas, knocking on every door, every store, and every floor. And the whole idea is kind of to transition from employee mindset employee to entrepreneur, where a lot of risk. And, Tarek is pretty modest. He just walked away from a multiple 6-figure job. And he just realized that the bandwidth was not there to be able to give all in over here and all in over there. And he's an all in kind of guy. And if you're watching this, you're probably an all in kind of person. And I've seen your journey. I saw you open up franchises with your wife and, so navigating that journey, moving from California back all the way to the East Coast. And now you're here in Florida. And, what really, one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring you on this podcast and reasons I think you can bring so much value is that I want you to share what some consistency and some patience can do for our audience and the gap that you took away from it, what you saw,
Yeah.
the power, because you're now attracting so many people into your life through YouTube. And I'd like you to share that journey, please, because we're all looking for little tips and tricks.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think there's a couple of powerful lessons, and consistency and patience is very important. And I'm excited to talk about that, specifically pertaining to my story. What's also very powerful is actually like taking the action to go after what it is that you want in your business and in your life. I have a clip that I made. It was when I was living with my parents. It was probably right around the time where you and I met. I have a clip from about 14 years ago, me sitting in my room, living in my parents' house, and me making my first YouTube video. It's like a minute long. And it's me saying that I'm going to create a YouTube channel. I want to inspire people and motivate people. And it never happened. I never did it. I never made that leap because of fear and all these different things. And so what's even more interesting is I think there's someone in your audience right now where there is a dream or a vision in their business that they want to pursue, or an idea that they've been wanting to go after and implement, and they're not doing it. And each day they don't take action, it's costing them. It's costing them not just financially, but it's costing them fulfillment. It's costing them momentum. And one of the things that I learned. So I put my first video on YouTube, I think in October 2019. September 2019. And I had this dream to become a YouTuber, right? But more importantly, to impact people, to be able to share my voice and my story and encourage and motivate and inspire. But YouTube's really hard to crack. It's a tough nut, and you really have to have a good strategy. And I posted a few videos. I decided that I was in a niche down in the franchise space, right? Because that's really
that's first and foremost, create a niche.
First and foremost, create a niche. And keep in mind, franchising wasn't like that. That's not the dream for me. I enjoy talking about franchising. I can, I've bought and sold franchise locations. I've consulted for franchisors. So I know the space. I know that the technical side of it, but that's not my dream, is to talk about franchising all day long. But it's so important to niche down. And so I decided to niche down into franchising to start to build my audience. And so I did that. I created a couple of videos, and then I got inconsistent, right? So I stopped posting videos. I put a couple out there, and I'm like, I got like 80 views on each of these videos. And, and part of it is, it felt a little bit embarrassing, right? And maybe some people can relate to that. It's like, you try something, it doesn't work, you kind of fail or you stumble. And it's hard to deal with the lack of success, right? And keep going when people are looking at you and like, this guy's only got 80 views on his videos. At least that was kind of what was going through my head. And then COVID started to happen. And in about a month or 2 month period, our sales in our franchise stores went down about 40 to 50%. And I freaked out. And at the time I was doing like some part-time consulting, sales work, had a lot of flexibility. So I was like, I'm going to go find a job. I don't know what's going to happen with our stores, franchises, how long this is going to last. And that's what I did. And right before that, I stopped being consistent. I stopped putting videos on YouTube. And I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole here, but long story short, I went 9 months without posting a video on YouTube. In those 9 months, my videos started to take off. They started to get thousands of views. I started to get hundreds of comments. I started to have people downloading my 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days, which is my opt-in that I was talking about on my YouTube channel. And all of a sudden I'm looking and I've got a couple of hundred people on my email list from these videos that have just been out there gaining views and I did nothing. And people are emailing me saying that, it's encouraging to them and they want to own a franchise. And at that point I realized I was being selfish. My own insecurities, my own fears, my own laziness, my own lack of motivation and discipline in pursuing my goal, my dream was actually robbing people of valuable knowledge and insights that could be helpful for them. And so, I think that's really important for people that are watching this to think about, which is like, you want to create something in your business because you want some accomplishments and you want to create some financial success. But more importantly, think about the problem you're solving and how selfish it is of you to not pursue solving that problem.
What a great way of looking at it. What a great perspective, because that helps you overcome those 80 views. Because if you're looking at it that way, you say one of those 80s they might have got something that helped inspire them. And so when you're looking at it that way, you're like, wow, I got to bless 80 people, and then before you know it, it's 8,000, it's going to take off. But the beautiful part about YouTube is obviously it's owned by Google, and, there's search engine stuff there. So when you put in the keywords, and it's also fun. First of all, tell everybody your YouTube channel, please.
Yeah, it's just my name, Tariq Johnson, Tariq Johnson. Put that into YouTube and it'll pop right up.
And what I love about it is, even if you don't want to go down the franchising path, and what's neat about it is that you want to subscribe because there's going to be something that's going to pop up. And I don't subscribe to a ton of YouTube channels. However, when Tariq posts something, I get a little notification, a push notification, and I don't watch them all. But there's every now and then there's a title that really catches me, and I'm like, oh, I want to listen to that. I want to see what he has to say about this. He just recently told me that he's monetizing YouTube and like over $7,000 in profits, and I'm like, what? Like, I feel like you just started this thing. So I know you're learning, you're investing into coaching, you're already in momentum. So, share with any business could be valuable. So if you create a niche, you niche down, you're going to attract audiences that are specifically searching for that stuff. Now, what's next? What are your thoughts on helping somebody, expand their business and to actually attract people to them, build relationships, earn more referrals? Because that's what you're in the middle of right now. Because what we're going to do, by the way, is we're going to do another one at the end of March with Tariq. I'm going to bring him back on exactly a year from now. And I can't wait to go back and reference this one. And we're going to splice the two and create a really killer video. And it's all going to be around consistency and persistence. Because I know that if Tariq was a stock, I would bet on it right now.
I appreciate that. I'll send my ticker symbol to you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and it's interesting starting up, right? And one, I think that, any entrepreneur out there that's listening that has a business, you should be on YouTube. There is a way for you to create value, expand your business, and expand your brand on YouTube. So whatever niche it is that you're in, you should be doing something on YouTube to provide value, to grow your audience. It will help your business. It depends on what your business is, but like had a guy that reached out to me. He's a real estate agent. He wants to get more clients as a real estate agent, and I know that's right up your alley. And he's been posting YouTube videos, and he's not following the strategy and the formula. There's a specific formula to be successful on YouTube. Do you mind sharing it?
Do you mind sharing a little bit?
Yeah. Overall, it's a couple of things. Number one is to find a niche. Right. So YouTube is so competitive, especially now, like even in the last year, because of COVID, the competition on YouTube has skyrocketed now just in the last year. But you have to niche down first. And in order to grow initially, the best strategy is to target search words. So, if you're a real estate agent, as an example, and you're in San Diego, you want to research all of the search words that people are searching for in regards to real estate and your industry in San Diego, and think about every different variation that you can come up with and create a list of all those keywords.
And how do you do that? Is there a website?
Yeah, well, the easiest thing to do is start typing things into Google, okay. Right? So, and see what pops up as recommended.
Oh.
Yeah, the drop down. That's your key, right? That becomes your guide right there in terms
So
of.
if you typed in franchise or franchising, you can see what other people are typing in. That's top keywords.
Exactly. What's going to pop up is the top keywords. Those are your first 5, 6, 8, 10 videos that you make. And there's a service that you can pay for called TubeBuddy, and TubeBuddy helps you look up what the score is for specific keywords. So it'll tell you what type of competition it's getting, how many searches it's getting on a monthly basis, and then the weighting that it then gives you and your likelihood at succeeding based on your channel. And so once you do that, then you need to make sure that in the beginning, because you're trying to get people via search, right? You're trying to pop up on that first page somewhere on there. And so what you're trying to do is create a title that matches what people are searching. And you want to create a title that's enticing, where someone looks and goes, yeah, I want to know what's the best places to live in San Diego in 2021. So that could be the title of your video if you're a real estate agent in San Diego. Best places to live in San Diego 2021, right? And then at that point, you need to make sure your success on YouTube counts on two things. One, your click-through rate. So when people see the image of your video, what percentage of times are they clicking on it? The higher your click-through rate, the more YouTube is going to show your thumbnail and create an impression of your video. Then number two, you can't just have a high click-through rate. So you don't want to just clickbait people. You actually have to have value, and then it factors in your watch time. So the higher you can get people to click, the longer you can get them to stay on and watch and retain that viewer, the more and more YouTube is going to show that video. So as an example, my top 2 videos that have almost 30,000 views now, one of them has, I think, like a 7 or 8% click-through rate, and then like an 8-minute average watch time, which is, in the eyes of YouTube, very good. And so that's overall the formula. So you want to make your thumbnail enticing, right, for people to click on it. And then you got to make your content engaging in the beginning so that people will continue to watch your videos. And then
what's the kind of the rule of thumb right now? They used to be a couple of minutes. Now it's like, what, 7 seconds, 10, 30. What do you've seen? Like, what do you focus on? Do you focus on your first 10, 30 seconds? Because I know you're really strategic. You script out what you're going to say, and then it's not scripted. So like, you write it out, you probably even rehearse it before you go with it, but it's also like very conversational, but you know, you're on point. It's not just winging it.
Yeah. You have to be very tactical with what you're saying. It's funny. I've been seeing these ads on Facebook that are all about how to come across as conversational on camera and on ads, and that most people, they don't want to come across as scripted, so then they actually wing it. And I've done a lot of speaking and public speaking in my time, so I probably could wing it, but you're not going to produce quality content. I mean, think about if you were like, I'm going to go on vacation and I'm just going to wing it. I mean, unless you're trying to create more spontaneity in your life, and just like that's like a part of the journey is just winging your vacation, like, success is not an accident, right? So what I do is I script it out, and the first minute and the hook is very important. So what I do is I plan out, and these are like nuggets, by the way, like, just so you guys know, I bought courses to learn all of this stuff. So you guys are getting some really good stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to plan out the hook. So in the beginning of my videos, what I do is I have a hook to bring them in and engage them, right? So at the beginning, as an example, let's stick with that. And I am actually winging all this. So if we're sticking with the example of best places to live in San Diego in 2021, it could start out with like, you're literally on the beach by the ocean, and you're like, have you ever dreamed about living on the beach? Well, I know you might not have the budget to be able to live right on the beach, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share with you the top places to live in San Diego in 2021 that are more affordable than you think. So you got to make sure you stick around, because you can't wait to see what I'm going to show you later on in this video. And now you created the hook, right? You want to capture their attention and specifically tell them what they're going to get in the rest of the video. So they know, okay, I'm on the right video. Let me at least stick around 30 more seconds. And it's kind of like a dance and an art of keeping them around. And you're going to have people that are going to fall off. I mean, it's just going to happen. And sometimes you're going to think you nailed it and you didn't, and they're still not going to stick around. But the more you put in graphics, B-roll, people's attention spans are really short. And that's one of the things I'm focusing on improving on my videos, because I do a lot of talking in one segment. But I think because it's so niche down and it's so technical, my subject, I think people are more willing to hang around for it. But that's part of the formula.
Wow, that's so cool. And I wanted to get you on the podcast no matter what, because you're a big relationship guy. You stay in touch with a lot of people. You have a lot of friends, and it's, what I admire about you is that, like, when you're an all-in kind of guy, you're all in, you're in. And I know that you're at 2,500 subscribers now, and I feel like you have probably more knowledge and more like all in than people that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Because you see, there's a lot of, you got to cut the learning curve, and you come from the Tony Robbins, community, where they're talking about getting a mentor into condensed time. And it's what you're doing right now. And so whatever business that you're in, like we started a YouTube channel years ago, and I'm the same thing. It's just fear. It's getting on camera, and now I'm just like, I recently hired a coach, and I'm meeting with him tomorrow. And it's a guy he was completely dead broke, and for personal, like, foreclosure and stuff. This was in 2008. And in very short term, he wanted to help coach people on being entrepreneurs in home-based businesses when he was going through foreclosure. But he had so much great content that people were listening. And he has not missed out on doing a live video in like 13 years. And every day.
Wow.
Every day he's done something consistently. But you know what? He built up such an audience. Now he's got like 15 to 20,000 people paying him $20 a month. So like, just look at what's happened. Like, he's exploded, and he's learned so much. And just in the last 5 years, he's probably spent, I think he said 1.3 million in coaching. And so when he has a specific need, he goes to the best of the best. And so he's got the money to do it. But like, give you an example, like, he hired Grant Cardone, this guy, for 4 hours, $100,000.
Wow.
4 1-hour sessions. Now Grant is at 3 hours for the same amount. And I wouldn't be surprised after his last event, it's probably 2 hours. However, got one tip in his first 1-hour session that 10x'd his investment. He made over $1 million in his next live event because of the one tip from somebody who learned from his own mistakes, from his own massive live events. And so you're all about investing into yourself and coaching. You do that, and you're a coach. So, I mean, please share about how mentorship in your life has helped you get to where you're at today, and what you enjoy pouring into other people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, mentorship is huge. It's so massive. And about 2.5 years ago now, when we bought our second franchise location, we had moved to Florida. We opened our first one in California from scratch, got it profitable in less than 60 days, which was not an accident. And then bought an existing location in Florida when we moved to Florida. And I put a manager in place, kind of got things up and running. And I was like, now I can create my YouTube channel. I can create an online brand, because I'm not working for an investment company. Before, with my investment licenses, I was not allowed to talk about anything money or business on the internet. It wasn't allowed. And I was like, I can finally do it. So I was like, all right, I want to create a YouTube channel. I want to create a brand. And I wind up hiring a coach, a lady that had been successful years before and had created a thriving YouTube channel, a multiple six-figure kind of online brand and coaching business. Actually, I think she had created a 7-figure business, and I hired her. So first call, I'm like, all right, boom. Yep, I'm gonna sign up. And so she's the one that helped me learn and go through the process of, okay, you got to niche down and kind of take me and my super analytical mind and my analysis paralysis. And she helped me hone it in and go, aha, talk about franchising. That's literally what you're doing right now. That's what you're living. For a lot of you that want to create more in your business, like use your story, use what you're learning, use what you're going through in order to create the success that you're looking to create. So it's like, okay, talk about franchising. That's a great niche. Then she helped me go through like the customer avatar and the questions. What are their pain points? What do they want? What are their fears? Where do they spend time with? Like, these are all things that, like, I would not have done this if it wasn't for me having hired a coach. And so I did that, and that helped lay the foundation. She helped me, coach me through getting my website up, creating my 7-step blueprint, which is my opt-in. So she helped me create the nuts and bolts of all that stuff. And then again, I was inconsistent, right? Like, we could be talking right now and I could have 100,000 subscribers right now and probably have a 7-figure business if from the
Somebody's going to be
beginning.
watching this, and you will.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's coming now that I'm consistent, right? But it goes to your point, which is, if you guys are implementing stuff in your business and you're not being consistent and not being disciplined, you're starting over. And I've experienced it so much. And that's going to be a part of the story that I really start sharing with people, is because, man, I look back and I go, damn, like when I started 2.5 years ago, if I would have just been consistent, stayed on that road from day one, I'd be in such a different place. But everything happens for a reason, and the journey's happened the way that it's happened for a reason. So let's fast forward. We'll skip a part of the story there. When I decided to get serious again about 6 months ago, I hired a coach, a guy that I've also known for about 15 years online, who I watched him go from trying to create a successful online business and brand for the last 15 years to him just being persistent, being consistent, doing it, and creating a 7-figure business online. And so I was like, I'm definitely going to hire him. I know him. I trust him. Hired him, paid in full. So there was I was like, I'm not bailing out on this, because sometimes people like to take the safest route. Oh, let me do the monthly pay option. Let me lower my risk as much as possible. It's like, I'm paying all the money up front so that I'm all in. And we set a goal. And I said, in 6 months, the goal is to leave my job. And the goal is to create at least $7,500 a month in income on YouTube. If I could do that, that would be like a miracle to me. At the time, I had like 300 or 400 subscribers. I had just gone 9 or 10 months not posting videos. And it was through his mentorship and coaching, he guided me. He helped me set up the plan. Granted, I did the work, right? The coach is not going to do the work for you, and don't expect them to do the work for you. But like, I hustled my ass off. I mean, I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to sleep at midnight, making this happen in between working a job, being a husband, being a father, trying to spend time with my family. I know you know what that's like. And, but he helped me find those little things and fine tune things. And if it wasn't for him, there's zero chance I would have created that financial success specifically, or would I have actually been as consistent? Because there were times where it was like, I was going to show up to the coaching call. I'm like, I'm not showing up saying that I didn't get that done.
Yeah, when you have a level of respect for somebody, you don't want it. And that's one of the reasons why I just hired my coach, is because, it's always been a dream for me to hire this guy, and his rates have gone up every single year. It's like, he's great. And I know that if I called him, he would be open to sharing some stuff, but I'm not like that. I want him to be all in with me and know that I'm serious, and to take that next step. And, it's tough. There's the first couple of times you do that, you feel like, oh, can I just do it myself? Or can I just go to YouTube and find a free video on this? And what I realize is that when the people give away the best of the best stuff, and they're really coming from contribution and abundance mentality, it's when the universe pours back into them. And I just remember a friend of mine, I met him in 2010. The year before that, he hired Gary Vaynerchuk. He paid him 10 grand to meet with him for 1 hour. He flew in, met in with him because he had Wine Library TV, and he was like the go-to YouTuber, that type of person. And he said, this is what I want to create. I want to launch this on my 40th birthday, or something like 45th birthday. I want to launch this on my 40th birthday. And it was in the network marketing space. And what he did was, he's like, okay, this is what you do. He never asked for $1 for 3 years. In his third year, he ran a free event with just pay for your course materials event. And since then, he's exploded. I mean, he earns like he's an expert in that space. I mean, private jet. He just had an event where he had like 80,000 people show up on a virtual event. I mean, he gets north of 6 figures in a day for live speaking an event. And like,
Wow.
but this is an extreme course. This is extreme. However, but it just goes to show you, he was willing to invest into mentorship up front. Like, I'm all in. I'm okay with delayed gratification. And that's a big mindset. I mean, I see all of those qualities in you and what you're doing. You're okay with delayed gratification. You know, you're okay with putting in the work now. And the beautiful thing about the internet is that, you know, the YouTube, it lives there. It's on there. It's searchable. Google owns it. And then with podcasting, you know, that's searchable. So it is very exciting, but it also requires bandwidth, and you got to take the time and carve out to do it.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, there's a couple of comments that I want to make on that, which, you know, through my coach, he helped me figure out the approach on how to actually monetize it, how to use it to get coaching clients and clients out of YouTube. Because if it was just based on just the ad revenue, that takes a long time. Right. So, you know, in January, I did on YouTube over $7,000. And when I say on YouTube, all of the clients that I got were from YouTube. Like, I would not have gotten those clients. So I made $220 in ad revenue, the ads being played on my video, but then I made $7,000 in signing up coaching clients that literally all watched my video. They all downloaded my ebook, and then they all filled out my coaching application. I would not have gotten those clients if it wasn't from YouTube. And there are people out there listening right now where they could be getting more clients in their business if they started putting things on YouTube. And then what the point that I want to touch on is about your comment about people being fearful about investing themselves and trusting. I had someone that I went to a personal development seminar with, and actually he's in the real estate space. And I really hope he sees this and he watches this. But he reached out to me and wants to become successful on YouTube. Like, he's been posting videos, they're getting like 5-10 views. And I'm like, dude, I could show you the exact formula. Like, this is my coaching rates. This is what it is to work with me. And he's like, I don't have money in my coaching budget until June. And this was originally, I think in January, he reached out to me. And I'm like, well, budget is if you knew for sure if you knew 100% what your return on investment is, at that point, it's not budget, it's investing, right? It's only budget if it's an expense that doesn't bring you in money. Otherwise, it's an investment. And what is the ROI? So, like, you know, he's like, oh, great, overcoming objections. I'm like, yes, in a way, it's me overcoming objections, but it's the truth. So, like, in that time frame of you not hiring me, right, until June, you could be making videos, building momentum, getting clients that could 10x and pay for it. In real estate, one client, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in commissions. And it's funny because after I posted my video the other day about how I made over $7,000 on YouTube in January, and by the way, this month it's over 10 grand. He posted.
Listen, this is March of 2021.
March of 2021.
You're watching this video in 2022, 2023. Why don't you send him a little message and ask him where he's at right now? Because, you know, that's the way my brain works.
Yeah, that's smart. I love that you're.
And you know what's also funny, as I picked up on a couple of things you're just saying. Something tells me the $220 that you got was actually more exciting than the $7,000.
Yes. Yes.
Because you see the big picture.
Yes. And that's exactly, I mean, I've been journaling on this, and I was saying to my wife, I'm like, holy crap, when that $229 in ad revenue is $2,229. And then when it's $22,229, and I felt really uncomfortable making that video. It felt embarrassing, weird, awkward to like make the video that I made about how much I made in January on YouTube.
Yeah, I know, it's not.
It's so
but it's
weird.
also an unselfish, like, as much as it's like, some people might look at you just patting yourself on the back, look at me, because I know you, I know you're doing that as inspiration for other people too. You know, it was inspiring for me.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Because I mean, I watched so many YouTubers about what they did, what they created in their business, and it created the fuel for me as inspiration to do it. So, and a lot of my message now is, you know, people going from employee to entrepreneurship. Like some of the people that even listen to this, like you might be part-time in what you do as a real estate agent or as an entrepreneur, and you might have the dream to go full-time, right? And so that was the idea of that was exciting. But long story short, this guy texted me the other day after I made that video, and he's like, as I mentioned, you know, I don't have any room in my budget until June, but I'm wondering, can you tell me what I need to do for my videos, advice that I need to blah, 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 blah. And he like asked me like 6 things for me to do for him in the meantime, for him to prepare. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you know, and part of me felt weird actually, because I'm one that wants to be generous. I want to help, right? Like I wanted to answer his question. And I probably could have typed it out in about 5 minutes and gave him something. But when people get this something for nothing, they don't value it and they don't implement it. So I'm going to take the time out of my day to give you advice that you may never implement. And it's like, okay. And then in a sense, it's almost like, all right, so you're saying you don't value, basically what you're saying is you don't value my advice enough to pay now, or trust in yourself that you're going to be able to create an ROI, but you basically want me to coach you for free over the next 3 months. And it was just weird. I don't know. I still feel weird about it. I feel weird even talking about it right now because I feel like it sounds a little bit negative or complainy. My point is that take the risk, invest in yourself, whatever it is in your business. If it's ads, if it's, you know, creating a video of testimonials, whatever it is, act as if you knew you were going to get a return on investment. And if you acted that way, what would you do in your business right now?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And another thing that Tariq breezed upon, however, is very powerful, is that, and he went through it pretty quickly. I don't know if you guys caught it. People watched his videos. They subscribed. They got what? They got his ebook. So he put together some really probably amazing, valuable content that if people actually utilize in his ebook, my guess is they could be successful. But the best of the best, the people that really want to condense time, it's not just written in an ebook. There's stories, there's experiences, there's things that don't go into the ebook that are more valuable in the ebook itself. And people that invested, the coaching invested, understand that. And so, however, do you see that they got a free ebook? They didn't pay for the ebook, right?
No. Yeah. And even my coach told me, he's like, it's a 28-page ebook. Like I went really all in on it. He's like, you gave away too much in there. He's like, you know, and it's
part of the reason. It's part of the reason. And I'm already adjusting some of the things. Because when somebody goes to referralsecrets.com, they go in and then we release one video a day for 7 days, the 7 most powerful referral secrets. So what I'm thinking now is to maybe redo it and put all 7 right there. So if somebody wants to binge watch like a Netflix series, they have the ability to do it. So I'm already thinking like, but you know, like every day, like on day 6, they get to see day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that some people aren't going to watch it each day. And we also send out a text message each day with a link that links back to it. So I'm always trying to give value. And then of course there's the next step that we promote in there for a percentage of people that always want to take that next step. And so for what you did was, you know, you value, they download the ebook, they get to know you more, who you are, what you stand for, and then that leads to where you're at right now. And here you are, a 5-figure business, and you're like really 6 months in. Like you started it, stopped, and then came back around. So
yeah. And I really, even though I started working with my coach in September, I didn't even really get serious until like, I didn't even launch any of the coaching offer package stuff until like the end of December, January. So yeah, it's interesting. What's interesting?
The most reason why you did that was because you had people inquiring about that. You told me about the guy from Canada with an overseas parent or somebody from a parent from overseas and wanted to invest in their kids or something. And then, but that's probably what sparked you. Well, I got to put something together now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and in terms of attraction and attraction marketing, YouTube's super powerful because now I literally have people that reach out, fill out my coaching applications, ask me for help. My videos are just running; they're just running, and I'm providing value. Like these videos take a long time, and they don't have to for you. You can do it in a way that works, but for me to do the research on the video, script out the video, record the video. For a while, I was doing my own basic editing because I was doing it so last minute to stay on my content schedule. I didn't have time to upload it, get it to an editor, get it back. All of that stuff, create the thumbnail. I mean, you're talking, a few hours each video, and this is free, valuable content. Like I hold nothing back in my videos and try to just give as much value as possible. And yeah, I think it's really powerful for people because if they use it in their business, because you can just start to have people reaching out to you on autopilot and play the long game for sure.
Anything else in wrapping up? Anything that you would like to add is, and obviously that you already gave Tariq Johnson the YouTube channel. Is there anything else that you would like to add for people that are looking to, just up their game on getting out there and relevance? And I my guess is that one of the things you might say is is niching down, because we've mentioned it so many different times, but what would you like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I start with the end in mind. So, and even if you don't have 100% clarity, because sometimes the hardest thing is figuring out, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What are you trying to create? And it's something that I'm still struggling with. Like every day I feel slightly uncertain, even though I have a written declared vision. So it's really interesting how that pops up. But start with the end in mind. Like think about where you are right now and like what's the end destination? Like what's the most ideal situation of what you want to create in your business? Write it out, like brainstorm it, write it out, have it on a piece of paper. And then so once you know where your end destination is, now figure out the strategy and what makes sense on how to get there. So my end destination is, I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. I want to be on stage talking to thousands of people, and I want to be impacting millions of people on how to live their dream life, how to create the financial success, how to become an entrepreneur, but how do you live your dream life? And so that's my end destination. But I figured that's too abstract. And one, I got to create my dream life first as the story to inspire people to do it. And so then it's like, okay, well, how can I create success as an entrepreneur? Well, and then I went back to strategizing, and that got me all the way down to my niche. So my advice is start with the end in mind and then strategize. And even if you have to do something now, which is not your dream or what you feel like is what you really want to do, that sets the foundation and the stage. And that's just step one to get you to step two. So have that patience and consistency to go through the phases and the steps, knowing that all the while you're going towards that end destination.
That's very, very powerful to start with. What is it that you really want? And I see that Caleb is now what, 3?
Just turned 2.
Just turned 2. So, I mean, I see you guys going on walks. I see you guys doing this. And I know that you're the kind of dad that's never going to want to miss a practice or a game. And, being able to build a life around that, and there's so many people that I'm sure that are watching this right now that are things that they want to do and they want to accomplish. And there's always a way. Like I have a friend of mine right now that's working full time, and nights and weekends, he's studying marketing. He's studying online lead generation and marketing to be able to package what he is an expert at to be able to bring it to the world. So he believes in 6 months, he's going to be able to be where you're at now when you were talking about 6 months ago. So I love that, and that inspiration. There's no doubt in my mind that you're well on your way and well on your path. I'm excited to do the interview a year from now, another podcast a year from now. I'm really excited about that because I'm putting it in my calendar now.
Awesome. I'm excited too.
Schedule Tariq for the end of the year or end of the month. And so It's going to be fun. And you know what? I'll share some of the things that I'm doing, because really I'm kind of using tomorrow, April 1st, as my kind of launch date into doing what we're about ready to do as well. So it'll be fun to, kind of compare notes and do, and we're kind of both on the kind of same journey. So.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And man, I mean, to look at how far you've come from when we've met. I mean, I know this was interviewing me, but man, I mean, I think about when you were in send out cards and what you were doing, and I wound up joining your team at that point, and I think going up to Connecticut, and you even let me stay at your place one time for like a little weekend thing, and then to see what you've created. We're 45 minutes away from each other now. I'm in Orlando. Curtis is just up north. And so I went and visited his office to see what he's created, and his team and his business and his printers and his impact. And it's really amazing. And I look at you, and you are a source of inspiration for me. I see what the consistency that you put in over your business. And I think about, wow, if I can have that sort of discipline and consistency that Curtis has had, man, what can my business look like 3 years from now? So you're an inspiration to me, brother.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a 14-year overnight success. So I mean, 14, 15 years, and it's it's been quite a journey for sure. And starting your own business is never easy. It takes some twists and turns. However, it's very exciting. However, like when I find somebody that's doing what I want to do, like what you're doing in the space that you're doing, it's very inspiring to me, because there's so many different angles that you can take, and there's only so much time in the day. And I just feel like what you're doing is one of the most highly leveraged things that you can possibly do in your business if you're okay with some delayed gratification, because put in the work now and it will pay you down the road. And I'm surrounded by people all around me and tons of testimonials of how it's worked for them. It's about time that we do it.
Nice.
So thank you so much for taking the time. We're going to cut it here, and we're going to be reconnecting in a year, brother. Well, obviously we'll be talking in between that, but you're going to be back on this podcast a year from now.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother. Take care.
Absolutely. All right.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Hey there, it's Curtis again. If you have not downloaded the 7 most powerful referral secrets, hop on over to referralsecrets.com. It's free. That's simply referralsecrets.com. Also, we give away prizes every week to our subscribers, so make sure you click the subscribe button. Thank you again for listening to another episode of Referral Secrets.